Many of you have not been in your car in a long time, in terms of like the way you used to be in your car, right?
Hell yeah.
I mean, Alex, you had gotten a new car not long before COVID, in a few months,
Yep, I got an oil change the week before COVID changed, and it's like I think since then I've put a total of 300 miles on it.
right? How
So
about
in
that?
about 4 months.
Yeah, how about that? 400 miles. 400 miles. That's it, man.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know?
with going to Oxnard.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Um, People aren't listening to sports radio like they used to. And I know for someone like myself, I got to say, I really haven't read the local newspaper in a really long time. I used to be that old school guy that wanted to hold the paper in his hands. I
Hmm.
gave up on that a long time ago. But not only that, I really just didn't feel like I needed the Union Tribune anymore. It was like the only newspaper of San Diego. And it was the only place where I was seemingly getting my local information, my local news. Here's the local. They've got national news. Here's business. Oh, I'm keeping in touch with a couple of things that are happening in the business world. Here's the local section. I see how many people were shot, dead, where, car accidents. Okay, obituary section. And then finally, I get to the local sports. So I really haven't read the newspaper in a long time. When Alex sent me this article as well about the Chargers, and Tom Krasovic, and the voters made the right choice, I agree, Browner. It's a very easy article to write at this moment, isn't it? Because we now know the world of COVID. People are looking at the Rams stadium. I saw somebody post this on Twitter just the other day, but they said, look at this. The Rams have built this gigantic $6 billion indoor Southern California stadium. Like, if ever there's a place on the planet that the stadium shouldn't have a roof because weather's not the biggest of concerns. In fact, you want to celebrate the beautiful weather. A domed $6 billion stadium in Southern California. And the notion was, this is a big freaking waste. But the thing is, nobody knew that 4 or 5 years ago when all of this began. And so to write an article today that says the voters did the right thing, yeah, if we look at it today, the voters chose not to spend billions of dollars for a billionaire's team. He should have at the very, very least, Dean Spanos should have been a 50-50 partner with the city and the county. Just call it the community. But he was never going to be a 50-50 partner because he had the asset and he had the leverage. What's turned out is he's become a disaster, and the whole thing has not worked out the way he'd planned. But I think to write the article today and say, you did the right thing back then because of what we know right now, yeah, it's kind of an easy thing to write. I will say this, that I supported the Chargers initiative because I wanted the team to stay. And truth be told, that was motivated selfishly speaking. Okay. But from a community standpoint, I thought, wow, San Diego's really, really going to suffer as a sports community if they don't have an NFL football team, if we don't have our NFL football team. And by the way, I think that's absolutely true. I think that as a sports community, we're a nothing now. Padre fans, as passionate as a very small group of people are, and I say small group, I don't have a number for you. I'm just saying that there's a group of Padre fans. My son and his best friend, they grew up Padre fans. We started talking about it the other day. They said the Padres are going to win the World Series this year because it's only 60 games and they can keep up for 60 games. And I'm like, okay, well, as a jaded Padre supporter and follower, I'm like, I'm not buying that. But my point is that the passion is only for one team now. There's only one thing that this city has remaining. And the sports community has been hurt. In fact, I would even go so far as to say devastated by the Chargers' departure. But if I really am being raw, I agree that we did the right thing not giving this to Dean Spanos. But it's a whole bigger story than that because only the city voted, not the county. There were lots of things that were set up for failure. and we can rehash this all day long. But like I said, Browner, I just was letting you ramble because it's Friday. That's why. What do you say, Grande?
Vacation. I listen, man. I'm not an economist. I'm not a tax expert. I barely do my taxes. I haven't even done my 2019 taxes yet. So to sit here and tell you that it was right or wrong from a financial standpoint, I have no freaking idea. But I 100% agree with Browner in the fact that we lost something that will never be replaced, maybe ever. And at the moment, probably not in our lifetime. An NFL team is a big loss for a community. Financially, I don't know what makes sense. I know that I'm looking back now, I'm very happy that we didn't give that family $1 billion or whatever it is that we were voting on. And to this day, the city still hasn't done anything with that land, with the convention center. So it's so layered. It's so layered to write a column like that. Like you said, it's easy. But at the same time, we've been doing a sports show for 4 months with no sports. Tom Krasovic is a sports columnist with no sports. So you got to figure out what you got to write about. But I agree with Browner. I don't know about the financial terms, but I agree with Browner. I think you will never be able to replace what the Chargers left. Whether if you're a Charger fan or not, I know a lot of people that are not sports fans that went to Charger games. It was an event. It's all about being an event. San Diego is an event city. So that I agree with Browner that it is a giant loss that you can't get back. Do I agree with Kraz about the economics? I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I certainly don't respect Krasovic as a business writer. I know him as a guy who's just sort of pokes around at things. I don't even really think of him as a specialist in anything. To your point, though, I think you're right. He's got to fill some space. Like, God damn it, what am I going to write about?
Yeah.
And this is what he comes up with on a week where, we talked about Spanos and selling his house earlier in the week, and I get trolled by all these idiots on Twitter who say things to me like, you don't ever stop talking about these guys. It's in the news.
Yeah.
It was in the news.
You can't you literally, Scott Kaplan cannot say Chargers without anybody giving you shit about it. And, it's 4 years later. But the funny thing that people, and I'm not trying to get all like numbery on people, but the funny thing about when we talk Chargers, that's what people still love to hear. That's what people still engage with. That's the number one topic to this day is Chargers, not Padres, not Aztecs. Definitely. It's Chargers. And that's the giant hole they left behind. It's like, dude, get over it. You're like a salty ex. It's like, yeah, because that's a big fucking hole to fill, dude. It's an NFL team that you're never going to get back. It's not the Chargers specifically. I guarantee you it's not the Chargers specifically. It's that San Diego lost an NFL team. That is the biggest hole you can be replacing as a sports fan is an NFL team.
Dude, when I moved to San Diego, when I moved to San Diego, John, you said you were not lifelong because you were a Chicago Bear fan, right? When I moved to San Diego,
yes,
I had already had an interaction as a free agent wannabe kicker with the Chargers. I'd already felt a connection to the team. When I moved here, Bill Johnston, who was the PR man at the time, he was the PR guy when I was trying to make it as a free agent kicker. I had a little teeny tiny relationship. Billy Ray and I walked into the Charger offices the first day I was on the air in San Diego because I was going to fix the relationship between Extra 690 and the Chargers, which had been destroyed by Hacksaw being
fired.
Well, but Hacksaw would go after them and they felt it was personal, and maybe it was, but the Hacksaw and the Chargers were bitter enemies. But I was the new guy who played for the Chargers for 30 seconds, and I wanted to go in and fix the relationship because I knew this. NFL football was the meal ticket to sports talk radio. Now, look, that may not be the case in every city. In LA, the fact of the matter is, if you're on sports radio in LA, you talk about the Lakers first. You talk about the Dodgers second.
Talk about the Lakers second, too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Lakers.
Then you go.
Dodgers, USC.
Lakers.
Right. Yeah, more
Lakers again.
Right. Rams, finally. Yeah, so the point is.
And then the Clippers.
Right. But I knew coming to San Diego that Charger football was what was going to drive the ratings. And to have ultimately, been on that bandwagon from as bad as they were to as good as they were, to the city exploding, to us driving that bandwagon, to ultimately losing the team. It is still, I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care what kind of troll you are on Twitter. That shit still hurts this community. My life's gone on. Okay. I can watch the way I choose to watch and be entertained the way I want to be entertained. I like watching them fail. It's fun for me. It's like having a team you root against. That's what I now have. But all these years later, I would say this. I would agree with the theme of the article, which is we should never have built a stadium for a cheap ass billionaire.
Any billionaire.
Well,
but especially that guy.
Especially that guy.
I would never argue against that. I am on the boat that everyone else is on, even though I hate boats, that never gives that guy money, never give any NFL owner a single solitary penny because they're billionaires and they have friends that are billionaires and they can really build what they want. But I would also argue that legally, the Chargers were the Spanos, but emotionally, it was San Diego.
We agree.
And that's what was taken.
Right.
And so
the
my
heart
issue
was ripped
with the
spirit.
article, yes, my issue with the article is that he's saying that, oh, it was a good thing that the voters did, but you know how many jobs were lost, not just football jobs. The convention center issue that people have, that would have been used in part with the convention center to get things here. If you're Comic-Con, do you want to go to a fancy, sweet new indoor building or outdoor building with a retractable roof? Or do you want to go in this old-ass convention center?
Well, I guess the answer was the old-ass convention center because Comic-Con, listen, look.
By the way, convention centers, real quick, they all look the same.
They're garbage.
They all look the same. I've been to 7 or 8 Super Bowls now. They all look the same.
It's just honestly like every city has one, but really only the cities that attract convention should have them. And yet cities like Indianapolis, they go looking for them.
Houston.
It's obvious in Vegas. It's obvious in San Diego or LA, maybe San Francisco.
Chicago's
it's
got
obvious
a great
in
one.
Chicago, of course. Hey, look, it's even obvious in a city like Nashville because of the country music world that's there. So, look, does San Diego ultimately need a convention center because it has the goal of attracting bigger conventions, more hotel rooms? The answer has always been yes. But now, looking back, Tom Krasovic, smartass, here goes. The fact that we've never voted to expand the convention center is also an excellent economic decision by the voters, because just how you're saying we'd be screwed with the stadium, we'd be screwed with this convention center with no conventions and no people traveling and no people staying in the hotel rooms. And so that's also something that is fortunate that we have not done. So maybe I should write that easy article.